This is the I Can Do Anything podcast. My name is Colin. Today I am talking about NBA basketball from the last couple of nights. I haven't really watched tons of NBA basketball, but I have the internet and I can read box scores and I can do anything. So let's go to the scores from the last couple of nights. I'm really winging it today, folks. Today is a winger. This is going to be the worst episode of the I Can Do Anything podcast that you've ever listened to, for sure. Potentially the worst one ever recorded. So last night, let's make this window a little bit bigger so that things look a little bit normal here. Scores. Why does the scores thing look different than it normally does? I want it to look the way that I'm comfortable with it looking. There we go. Okay. When was the last time I recorded this podcast? Saturday? Yeah. All right. Let's go to Sunday. Well, wait a minute. There would have been games on Saturday night, too. Okay. Saturday night, November 2nd. Pelicans Thunder. The Thunder win. Blah. Pelicans are still 1-5 as of Saturday night. Nets Pistons. Andre Drummond, 25 points, 20 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 blocks, and 3 steals. That's an impressive stat line. Nuggets and Magic in a low fucking scoring game. The Nuggets win 91-87. Wow. T-Wolves win without Cat, 131-109 over the Wizards. Suns, Grizzlies. This is the day that on Saturday I said was a very underwhelming looking NBA schedule. Raptors, Bucks, Hornets, Warriors, 76ers, Blazers. That's for sure the best game of the night. 76ers, Blazers, but Joel Embiid didn't play in that one, and the 76ers still won. So let's check out the box score from this one. A good game, obviously, 129-128. 23 points from Tobias Harris, 25 from Al Horford, Josh Richardson, 17, Ben Simmons, 18. Ben Simmons finished with 8 assists, Richardson, 6 assists, Al Horford, 7 assists. So a really great game for their starters. They got some pretty good production off the bench. 20, 32, 36. They got about a little over 40 points off the bench, which is pretty good. Portland on the other side of the ball, 25 from Rodney Hood, 33 from Lillard, 16 from McCollum. Lillard shot a really high percentage, 68.8% from the field, 72.7, 11 of 8 from 3, 9 assists for Lillard, 7 turnovers is too many. But in a loss, I don't know, the efficiency there from Lillard just is still impressive to me. Like even though they lost, McCollum certainly could have been a lot more productive. Kent Bazemore didn't play very well off the bench. They were without Hassan Whiteside, who played pretty damn well in the game against the Warriors that they lost this week, which I will get to. I've got some interesting thoughts on that game. The Warriors beat the Blazers with pretty much nobody on their team, without Draymond Green and D'Angelo Russell out of the starting lineup, or just out of the lineup in general. Those two are still out of the lineup again tonight, Wednesday night against the Rockets as well. But just the efficiency there, like I'd rather have a guy score 33 points and shoot 68.8% from the field than 59 points and shoot like 28% from the field. I just think that the efficiency and the ability to score 33 on 16 shots rather than 59 on like double that many shots just allows your teammates to do a lot more and allows your teammates to also get looks and also get in the flow of the game and also be a part of the offense. And, you know, like double that many shots just allows your teammates to do a lot more and allows your teammates to also get looks and also get in the flow of the game and also be a part of the offense. And, you know, like double that many shots just allows your teammates to do a lot more and allows your teammates to also get in the flow of the game and also be a part of the offense. And if you don't know who I'm referencing, you probably have never listened to this fucking podcast before. So Saturday, that really does it for the rest of the games on Saturday. The Warriors lost to the Hornets. The Warriors are 1-5. I came up with something over the weekend. Let me just get to the Warriors. I came up with something over the weekend. I'm not really much of a conspiracy kind of guy. I've done some drugs in my life, and I've certainly thought about conspiracy theory. I think that for the most part, I look at the world a lot differently than your traditional. I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I've certainly dabbled in the conspiracy and find it interesting, but I don't really go too crazy with the conspiracy theory stuff. But here's my conspiracy theory thought of the week. My high school basketball coach thought that the NBA, like legit, thought that the NBA was rigged. And I used to think that shit was crazy, and I still kind of do. This was like during this was a little before the whole reffing thing with what Tim Donahue was his first name. Tim, I know his last name was Donahue. I don't remember his first name. I think it was Tim Donahue, but this was like before that, maybe right around that time. It very well could have been during that time period. But yeah, my high school coach used to think that the NBA was like fucking rigged, and he really hated the NBA and much preferred that we watched college basketball. And at the time, I really thought the same. And maybe I think like in terms of like running plays and like team basketball, college basketball is probably a better brand of basketball for a young person to watch and learn about the game. You have to have a real base knowledge of the game of basketball already to understand the NBA and to learn from it. But certainly like for a young person to learn the game of basketball, learn the fundamentals, learn how to run an offense, to watch an offense move the ball back and forth from side to side of the court and really like work an entire offensive possession. College basketball is certainly better for that. NBA basketball really is, you bring the ball up and there's 18 to 19 seconds left on the shot clock, and there's a couple screens off the ball. You get the ball where you want it in the guy's hands who you want to have it, and he makes a move and takes a shot by within the first 10 seconds or so of the shot clock. Whereas in college basketball, there's a lot of movement. There's multiple screening, people running all over the place. The ball swings from one side to the other multiple times. You use the entire shot clock and you wear the defense out and you get the very best shot that you possibly can. And whoever ends up with the ball in that moment gets the best shot that you possibly can. Whereas in the NBA, like I said, it's very like, I want this guy to get the ball with this guy guarding him. You make it happen in 5 seconds, and then he makes his move in open space, pretty much in a one-on-one scenario within the first 10, maybe 15 seconds of the shot clock. So with all that being said, my high school coach it's kind of amazing that I'm sort of agreeing with my high school coach, who I didn't get along with really at all, and had not a great relationship with, for other reasons other than basketball for the most part. However, I do agree with him in that vein that maybe as if you're learning the game of basketball, the NBA isn't exactly suited for that, but the NBA is not fucking rigged. However, long story short, dong on titties, I don't think Steph Curry's hurt. Maybe Steph Curry isn't actually hurt. All I'm trying to say is that he looked awfully fucking happy in that selfie right before or right after his surgery on his broken hand that has him out for 3+ months. Now, the crack in that theory is that the only reason that you would want Steph Curry to sit out for a season like this season, where the Warriors are pretty obviously going to be terrible, to tank, hopefully get a good draft pick, although this upcoming draft doesn't seem like it's going to be a great one. There's no marquee names like Zion Williamson, certainly, that, like before the college basketball season even started, which started last night. I am going to talk about college basketball from last night. The 2 games on ESPN between 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 in college basketball. There's no like marquee talents that people are really excited, tanking to try to get, like Zion Williamson. Those people will develop throughout those people will develop throughout this basketball season, but nobody's going to be on that level that Zion or even RJ Barrett or even Cam Reddish. That even though I don't remember where he was drafted, but there's really nobody in the top 5, top 10 even. I would say that people are really excited about. But with that being said, the Warriors, depending on the season's not great already. It's pretty terrible already. But it could get worse, so I think that maybe Steph's not injured. As I was saying, the only reason that you would tank and fake a Steph Curry injury, or the only reason that you wouldn't want Steph Curry on the floor, is so that he didn't get injured. I didn't see the footage of him actually getting injured, but that would be a really difficult thing to fake, which is why, it's kind of, I don't really believe it. I just think it's kind of funny to say. And I'm not going to name the title of this video, "Is Steph Curry Really Injured? Are the Warriors faking Steph Curry's injury?" But I don't really believe it, but I think it's funny. That would be a really difficult thing for Steph Curry, who is not an actor. He's done some acting. He's probably flopped to get calls, so he's done a little bit of acting in his life, and it's probably worked. But Steph Curry is no actor, and that would be a really difficult thing to fake in the middle of a game. If it were to happen, if it would have happened in practice, like Steph Curry injures himself during practice, out 3+ months with a broken hand, he's already had surgery on it, and then we see a picture of Steph Curry smiling on a hospital bed with a cast on his hand, I would be like, oh wow, interesting. Maybe Steph Curry's not actually hurt. So I don't actually believe what I'm saying. More than likely, the NBA is not rigged, and more than likely, Steph Curry is actually hurt. But it's awfully significant that Steph Curry just isn't playing anymore. When, now Draymond's not playing, and now D'Angelo Russell is hurt, and their starting lineup looks like, where did Pascal go to school? So the Warriors played the Trailblazers on Monday night and won 127-118. I'm just going to skip ahead to Monday. I will go back to the Lakers and the Spurs from Sunday after I'm done talking about this fucking NBA conspiracy theory stuff. And Pascal, that's his last name. I don't even know his first name. Eric Pascal scored 34 points in 39 minutes, was 11 of 19 from the field, 57.9%, 66.7% from 3, 4 of 6, 8 of 8 from the free throw line, 13 rebounds, no assists, 1 turnover, 1 block, was plus 11. They got 10 from Willie Cauley-Stein, 16 from Jordan Poole. Kai Bowman started at point guard, whoever the fuck that is, and scored 19 points, shot 9 of 14, 64.3% from the field. They got 13 off the bench from from Alec Burks, 18 from Damian Lee. Damian Lillard scored 39. McCollum. This is the thing about McCollum. He's so capable of scoring so many points, but it seems like he just has a lot of games like this where he scores 13, 15, 18 points. Never really anything crazy. Doesn't shoot a crazy percentage from the field when scoring 15 points. It's not like he scored 15 points on 8 shots. It was 6 of 16, 37.5% from the field, 2 of 6, 33.3% from 3. 6 assists is pretty good. No turnovers. That's great. Hassan Whiteside, like I talked about before, had 22 points in this game, was 10 of 14 from the field, 71.4% from the field, shooting 11 rebounds, but was negative 15 in plus minus. But a great game for Hassan Whiteside, who that'll probably be his best game of the year, honestly. But this is what's interesting about the NBA, I think. A guy like Eric Pascal scored 34 points and beat a playoff a contender in the West this year in the playoffs. And last year, a team that got swept by the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. But Eric Pascal, who played, I thought he was at Villanova, is 23 years old, is a rookie. Is that right? Yeah, is a rookie in the NBA, scores 34 points against no fucking slouches. The Trailblazers are good, and they've got some good defenders for the most part. I don't know who was guarding them for the majority of the game, but C.J. McCollum's not really known for defense. I would assume that was who was guarding him. Maybe Rodney Hood, who played like shit in this game, but is a pretty good, a good enough defender. Certainly Rodney Hood's been in the league long enough that he should be able to guard a rookie or stop a rookie from scoring 34 points in a game like this where the Warriors are just completely depleted of all of their resources. They went from this is so fucking fascinating. They went from having potentially the best the best starting lineup ever assembled in NBA history. Boogie Cousins at the 5, Kevin Durant at the 4. Sorry, Draymond at the 4, Kevin Durant probably at the 3, Klay Thompson 2, and Steph Curry 1, to now Eric Pascal scores 34 points as a rookie with Willie Cauley-Stein starting at center. Jordan Poole, a rookie out of Michigan, scoring 16 points. Kai Bowman. Who is Kai Bowman? Out of Boston College. A rookie out of Boston College. 22 years old. Not bad, actually. He controlled tempo pretty well. Took care of the ball for the most part, I think. 3 turnovers, 8 assists. That's a great assist to turnover ratio. Glenn Robinson III, also a guy out of Michigan, in his 3rd or 4th year maybe in the league, 4th or 5th year in the league maybe. But this is what's great about the NBA, is that Eric Pascal is not a guy that any casual fan, and in a lot of ways not casual fans, would assume had the capability of scoring 34 points. But on any given night, for the most part, any of these guys in the NBA could go out and score 35 points. Like Damian Lee, who played 29 minutes and had 18 points. If you made Damian Lee the focal point of your offense, he could probably score 35 points in a game. I mean, a perfect example of it is Brandon Ingram, a guy who played at Duke. Everybody knows is a more than capable scorer, but couldn't really do it in LA last year because, with LeBron James, you're just not gonna be taking the bulk of the shots. It just wouldn't make any sense for anyone other than LeBron James, or now on the Lakers. It wouldn't make any sense for anyone to take more shots than LeBron or Anthony Davis. But now that Brandon Ingram is playing for New Orleans, he's scoring, a couple games in the high 30s. He had 40 points the other night. I mean, this is what's great about the NBA, is that so many guys are capable of scoring in bunches. Is that... Oh, Graham. Charlotte Hornets, Graham, 35 points. That's the guy out of... Graham, where did he fucking play? UConn? No, Graham played at Kansas. Career high 35 points for Graham. Warren, 33 points. I don't know who Warren is. Anyways, that's what's really cool about this league, is that so many guys on any given night have the capability of scoring like a ton of points and having really, really great nights. So let's go back to Sunday. The Lakers and the Spurs game was a really good one. LeBron had a triple-double, 21 points, 11 rebounds, 13 assists. They really trailed like a majority of this game. It was pretty close, though, throughout. It went back and forth a couple of times in the third. But this was a really fun game to watch. Anthony Davis, again, was really great in a lot of different facets of the game, was scoring in a lot of different ways. Finished with 25 points on 50% shooting from the field and from three, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 blocks. JaVale McGee, Danny Green both had pretty bad nights, and this is what's encouraging for the Lakers. On a night where LeBron only scores 21, which, is nothing to, frown at. That's still, 21 is good. For LeBron, it's very pedestrian. A night where Anthony Davis has 25. Avery Bradley played great, had 16 points. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, 14 off the bench. Dwight Howard continues to play really fucking well. Played really great again last night against the Bulls. Dwight Howard is a real bright spot, and it's really exciting to see him fit into this role really well and play so well. But on a night where, Danny Green didn't play well, Kyle Kuzma only had 5 points, Troy Daniels only had 1 point. Quinn Cook didn't have any points and only played 5 minutes. They still beat a good Spurs team on the road in a game that they were down. They were able to come back and pull it all together and play really well down the stretch. Again, last night in Chicago, on the flip side, they play pretty shitty through 3 quarters. Against a terrible Bulls team and find a way to pull it together and win a game that they're supposed to win down the stretch in the fourth quarter. Again, Dwight Howard played really well. Let's go to the box score from that one. Tuesday night, LeBron, 30 points, 10 rebounds, 11 assists. He now records 3 triple-doubles in a row. Anthony Davis had 15 on 40% shooting. So, again, a night where, sure, LeBron scores 30 and has a triple-double, but Anthony Davis only 15, JaVale McGee 10, Danny Green 7, Caldwell Pope started at point guard. Avery Bradley is out with a little minor leg injury, I think. I'm not sure if it was minor. I may have read that he's going to miss like a week or so, but it doesn't seem like anything like super serious. But on a night where, Quinn Cook played great, had 17 points and played really well down the stretch in that one, especially in the fourth quarter. Kyle Kuzma had his first double-digit scoring game since he's returned, scored 15 points on 43.8% shooting. Still needs to improve from the three-point line to make me feel really comfortable with the way he's playing. Was 1 of 8, 12.5% from 3. Alex Caruso had a big steal down the stretch and score in transition. Finished with 7. Troy Daniels 3. Dwight Howard 6 points, but shot a really high percentage. Only 6 rebounds. For Dwight Howard in this one, it was more about the timeliness of those baskets. He didn't really do a ton throughout the game, but played well when it mattered most. So, and this in that game was without Avery Bradley, but this is all with Rajon Rondo out. So this is a fucking exciting time to be a LeBron James fan. I tell you what, Nick Wright this morning on First Things First was talking about how, LeBron gets hurt last year in the middle of the season, has the Lakers in third place at Christmas, and then everybody likes to act like he's not the best player in the world anymore because he got hurt and the Lakers started to play like shit without him and he wasn't available to play. So people think, oh, well, he's not showing me that he's the greatest ever. And Kawhi Leonard played amazing and won a championship. And Giannis was the MVP pretty overwhelmingly, the MVP last year, and had a breakout season in terms of just showing that he took another step into, being a legitimate superstar in the NBA. And so people were like, oh, maybe LeBron isn't the greatest player in the world anymore. And it's kind of amazing that, this track record that he's shown just does it like, I don't know, maybe it's the question of like, oh, okay, he got hurt in his 16th season. Is he going to be the same next season? Is this the beginning of the end for LeBron? Are we going to slowly see him or even quickly see him deteriorate? And LeBron this season is showing that is not the fucking case, and that he is still, in my opinion, like by far the best player in the league right now. I mean, Kawhi Leonard is really great, and his age is probably, I don't know, Kawhi is kind of injury prone too. He's sitting out again tonight against, I don't know who they're playing tonight. The Trailblazers, maybe? The Bucks. Clippers play the Bucks tonight at 10 on ESPN, and Kawhi is out because of load management, and that load management is because he struggled with injuries, and part of it is because he wants to be healthy come playoff time. But, Kawhi is great. Kawhi is really, really fucking good. I don't think that's a secret. I don't think that's not going to win me any awards by saying that. But Giannis can't shoot. He just airballed 2 free throws in a row the other night. LeBron James is shooting a better free throw percentage. Probably the worst part of LeBron James's game, I don't think that anyone would question that, is his free throw shooting has improved this year. He's clearly focused on being a better free throw shooter. And he's still the most overpowering player in the league. He's still the most dominant player in the league. He controls that entire offense. He makes that entire offense go. He's playing great defense this year. LeBron James is the greatest player in the fucking world, and it's really not even that close. Kevin Durant's out this year, and certainly when Kevin Durant's healthy, he's obviously I think him and LeBron, when they're, especially now as LeBron, I mean, as a LeBron fan, it's hard to admit, but it's going to happen. Like, LeBron's not going to be the greatest player in the league at some point. He's going to have to retire, obviously. And as he starts to, he's obviously in the back end of his career. And as Kevin Durant is healthy and begins this new quest next season with the Nets, him and LeBron will be 1 and 2. And Kawhi, those three are really 1, 2, and 3 in no particular order. But in my opinion, just given the track record of LeBron, the championships, everything that he's done in his long career, LeBron's still number 1 without question, in my opinion. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about some college basketball. Kansas and who did Kansas play last night? Michigan State and Kentucky was the second game. I wish that they would have flipped them because I fell asleep even like before halftime. That Michigan State-Kentucky game didn't start until fucking 10 o'clock. That stupid fucking college football playoff picket rankings goddamn selection show thing. I could give a fuck about college football, especially right in the middle of the premiere of college basketball. I get that they got to do it because of the ratings and people watching and blah, blah, blah. It's a good way to mix the sports and all that bullshit. But that game didn't start until fucking 10 o'clock. I barely made it through the first half. I barely made it through the first half of the first half. of the Michigan State-Kentucky game, but they lost in a close one towards the end. Kentucky's point guard, I watched the highlights a little bit today. Kentucky's point guard looks good, or the guard that was scoring all them goddamn points and hitting all them threes from deep. He looks really damn good. And Cassius was Cassius for the most part played pretty well. I wasn't all that impressed with any of the new guys. Aaron Henry was a little underwhelming. I think he needs to take a big step, especially with Langford out again this season. Who did fucking Kansas play in that first game? I still haven't thought of it. Kansas played Duke. There it is. That game was ugly, man. There was an ugly fucking game. I found myself fading in and out of watching that game. I kept looking at my phone and pulling up YouTube videos in the middle of the game and like half watching the game and half watching like fucking Desus and Mero clips on YouTube because I just wasn't entertained enough. There was so many fucking turnovers, and this is what I'm like. This is sort of the juxtaposition, like, I don't know if that's the right word for what I'm about to say, but the NBA, sure, it's probably better to learn about the game as a young kid from watching college basketball. They probably play the right way, in air quotes, whatever the fuck that means. I know what it means. It means exactly what I just explained earlier in the podcast. They move the ball side to side, all that bullshit. But the NBA is just far more entertaining. Like I said, Pascal, what's the guy's name? Not Pascal Siakam. Pascal's his last name. Eric Pascal scores 34 points randomly in his rookie season. He is a former college basketball player for a college basketball, not powerhouse. Villanova is a small school, but Villanova is a great college basketball program, and he is one guy on that team that has the potential to be a great or a good, or at least have a sustainable NBA career. But the majority of those guys out on the floor for Kansas and for Duke aren't going to even play in the NBA. Like some of them, especially now, just because those powerhouse programs, they may have some one and doneers that go play in the NBA. I would say it's a safe bet to say that in that Kansas Duke game, between the 24 or the 30, however many, I don't know if it's 12 or 15 people that are on a college basketball roster. Let's say the active roster is 15 guys. Between those 30 guys, there's probably 4, maybe 5 tops that play in the NBA, and maybe 2 or 1 even that end up going on to be like multiple time All-Stars in the NBA, or to have like a significant any kind of significant longevity in the NBA. So the talent level's just not there. It's obviously the first game of the year, so the turnover thing is understandable. Missing a lot of shots, shooting a low percentage from the field for both teams, understandable for the first game. But this is where the NBA and college basketball differ. On every NBA team, there are guys like Kemba Walker for the Celtics that was a superstar in college basketball, and that team is full of guys that were great in college basketball, or guys that, had superior talent. Even guys like the point guard that's filling in for Steph Curry right now that from Boston College. He was probably fucking great. I never watched a Boston College game while he played there, but he was probably really great for Boston College. And, amongst Boston College, he was a fucking superstar. And now he's playing in the NBA. He probably won't have much of an NBA career, but he could be a decent backup for 4 or 5 years or something like that. Anybody in the NBA can score points, like JaVale McGee for the Lakers isn't allowed to take threes in games, but I guarantee if you and JaVale McGee were in the gym together and you stood there and rebounded for him, he could probably make 35 NBA threes in a row, just standing still, no problem. Could probably bury 15, 20, 30 threes in a row without really like much of a warm-up like these guys are professionals for a reason. One of the great stories that I always tell people in relation to that is, I don't know if you remember Paul Davis, but he played center for Michigan State. He played for the Clippers for a couple of years. He was 6'11", legit 7-footer, white dude at Michigan State in like the early 2000s when I was like, 8, 11, 12, something like that. Played with Drew Neitzel at Michigan State and was a pretty decent outside shooter, was able to take threes for Michigan State, didn't take a whole lot. He was in that D Wade commercial when Paul Davis was in the NBA. He was in that D Wade commercial where D Wade's driving to the basket and he's got the devil on one shoulder and the angel D Wade on the other shoulder, and they're like telling him, I don't remember exactly what it was, but they're basically like telling him whether to shoot or dunk it or lay it. I don't remember what it was. And he's driving at Paul Davis in that commercial. That was like Paul Davis's claim to fame in the NBA, basically. But Paul Davis, by no means was known as a shooter, especially not in the NBA. In the NBA, he was a screener, he got rebounds, and he did dirty work. And probably, I would venture to say, didn't take more than 2 threes, especially in that day and age in the NBA where big men didn't shoot threes nearly the way that they shoot them now, or even like yeah, you get what I'm trying to say. But Paul Davis, one time when I was at Michigan State basketball camp, I was shooting. So after Michigan State basketball camp, I went to the day camp. It was a 5-day thing during the week, Monday through Friday. And it was from like 8 to, let's say, 4. And afterwards, Michigan State basketball camp is unlike a lot of other basketball camps. Now, I've only been to Michigan State basketball camp, but I would have, I don't know. Michigan, a lot of their fucking players are there and engaged and around the guys, like around the kids that are campers, like throughout the entire week. Drew Neitzel was my coach one time. So at a lot of these camps, they have high school coaches come in and coach the team. So you're put on a team throughout the week. And high school coaches come in and coach your team throughout the week, and you play games throughout the week and all that. And afterwards, at 4 o'clock, you're in the main gym in the Breslin, and these players are, coming in to work out or do training, just shoot with coaches and do lifting and stuff like that, and do various workouts with, the various coaches on the coaching staff. And they would hang out, as we like each day you'd close in the Breslin Center, and then they'd send you home or whatever. And I usually hung around and talked to the players and got autographs and stuff like that, and we would shoot with them. I remember watching like Allen Anderson play one-on-one against like Travis Walton or somebody like they'd just fuck around with us, and that was really cool. So one time I was shooting with Paul Davis and I was rebounding for him for a while, and he started shooting threes from the same spot. He was shooting on the wing, and the NBA or the college 3-point line at the time was, I think, 19.8. It has now moved back a couple feet since then. This was before it originally moved back like 8-10 years ago, and now it just moved back another foot this year. So this was back when it was 19.8, and he was well behind that 3-point line, probably 4 or 5 feet behind that 3-point line. So basically taking NBA threes, and he hit. It's not because I was a little kid and I'm exaggerating the amount of threes he hit in a row. He legitimately hit 35 threes in a row, just standing there in one spot. I'd get the rebound, pass it back to him. He just, without really jumping at all, hit 35 threes in a row. So that just gives you an idea of even guys in college that play only a couple years in the NBA and aren't even allowed to shoot in the NBA. That gives you an idea of the level of talent that these guys have. And you just don't really, I don't know, in college basketball, like the scoring averages just aren't as high. Like Cassius Winston is probably going to win Player of the Year this year if Michigan State has the year that everybody expects them to have. and he'll probably average 18, whereas the MVP in the NBA will average 28. Now, they play a lot more games, which actually hurts an average for the most part. There's a lot more chance to have shitty games, and your average stretches out over more games. So there's actually a potential for it to be lower. Now, they play more minutes, and that helps with scoring points. You play 40 minutes in college basketball and 48 in the NBA. So, I don't know. 8 minutes is pretty significant. 8 minutes is... if you score a point per minute, that 18 scoring average goes up to 26. So, I don't know. There's just a lot. There's just the talent level in the NBA is so much better than college basketball. And a little bit last night during that Kansas and Duke game, I found myself just not very entertained. But a lot of that had to do with just the sloppy play because it was game one of the college basketball season for all four of those programs. So Michigan State starts the season off with a loss. I don't really care. It's game one against the number 2 team in the country. It just, I don't know. It is not going to hurt them at all. It's only going to be probably a great lesson for them, a great learning experience for some of the freshmen who are playing in their first game against a bunch of other freshmen in reality. But I don't look too much into the preseason ranking. It was Michigan State's first time being the preseason number 1 in program history. Who gives a fuck? I'm actually kind of glad they're not number 1 anymore. I don't really like the expectations and the publicity that comes with being number 1 overall. I'd rather hang out like they did last year and, in the top 10, just hang out top 5. Try to have nobody talk about you for the whole season and then slowly creep into the Final Four somehow. So I'm not too upset about the loss last night against Kentucky. It doesn't really matter. It's the first game of the season, a long season. Even in college basketball, this NBA or the college basketball season is a long one. I think that's all I got for tonight. I'm gonna go make some fucking tacos and watch some watch some NBA games tonight. It is 7:14 and a couple games have already started. Let's see. Knicks, Pistons, nope. Wizards, Pacers, nope. Bulls, Hawks, nope. Kings, Raptors, maybe. Warriors, Rockets, ESPN 7:30. I'll probably watch that. T-Wolves, Grizzlies, probably not. Magic, Mavs, probably not. 76ers, Jazz. I will definitely watch the 76ers and the Jazz, and Bucks and Clippers. I'll try to get to that one as well. Thanks for listening to the I Can Do Anything podcast, people. Have a great whatever time of day you're watching this. Listening to it. Watching it? Are you watching it? I don't know. See ya.